Hello everyone, welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more exciting true crime content. Today we're looking at a mum who screamed out in terror as she desperately tried to protect her child as knife-wielding robbers stole her car in a Snapchat setup. Courtney Slater's chilling screams rang out as she was dragged out of her car and a knife was held to her neck by Tyrese Chisholm. The 21-year-old was able to escape with her 2-year-old son Lakai, who was sat in the back, before Chisholm and 2 other robbers sped away in a Renault Clio. Miss Slater and her partner, Brandon Higgins, were attacked in Gorton after he had arranged to sell 2 pairs of Louis Vuitton sunglasses and a Louis Vuitton man bag on Snapchat. They had been lured to the scene as part of a pre-planned robbery. Chisholm, 18, Brandon Smith, 21, and Caden Jones, 19, have all been jailed. The terrifying carjacking was caught on camera and footage was played in court. Speaking of Chisholm and Miss Slater's screams of terror, the judge said, "I hope he never forgets seeing that recording." Chisholm demanded that Miss Slater take her son out of the car before he drove away in it. She told of the terror of having her child put through such an ordeal. "Thinking about how stiff and quiet he was in my arms breaks my heart. The most precious thing in my life was put at risk. I don't feel like life will ever be 100% the same again. This was a deeply shocking and utterly abhorrent incident," Judge Patrick Field QC said. "It is not surprising to hear that it has had a profound effect upon the victims of these offences." The judge said that it was good fortune that they weren't seriously hurt. Miss Slater said that she has suffered panic attacks and problems with her mental health, whilst her partner doesn't feel safe and is considering moving house. Chisholm, then 17 and now 18, the ringleader of the gang, was sentenced to 4 years in a young offenders institution. Jones, who was also brandishing a knife, was sentenced to 3 years and 8 months, while Smith, who was not armed, was jailed for 3 years and 4 months. Responding to the sentences, Miss Slater told the Manchester Evening News that "I don't think it's long enough. I have to live with this and they get about 3 years. They'll probably be out in half that time. The car means nothing to me, it can be replaced. That's all I was bothered about. My child, that's all that mattered to me." Miss Slater says that she can't be at home on her own, and that she gets nervous when seeing people with their hood up near her car. She said, "I'm looking to move out of Manchester, I don't like it around here anymore, I don't feel safe." Manchester Crown Court heard that on the morning of the robbery, June 17th, Mr. Higgins had advertised the items on Snapchat for sale for £400. He was contacted by a Snapchat user who has not been identified. They agreed to meet up later that day, but the Snapchat user said he was only a broker for the person who wanted to buy the item. Just before 7 PM, Mr. Higgins arrived with Miss Slater on Clumber Road. While he was speaking with Jones, one of the robbers, Chisholm, ran towards Mr. Higgins and grabbed him, demanding he hand everything over. After Mr. Higgins fought back, Chisholm lunged hard at his ribcage with a knife. Mr. Higgins sprinted away and was chased as they stole the sunglasses, Louis Vuitton bag and his iPhone. The robbers then turned their attention to Miss Slater, who was in the car with her son. Chisholm dragged her out of the car at knife point as the knife was held close to her neck. Prosecutor Neil Fryman said that her top was ripped and he demanded that she take her child out of the car. She did, and Chisholm drove off with Jones and Smith also in the vehicle. Mr. Higgins and his brother then tried to chase them in a car, but they got away. He used the phone tracking app on an old phone to try and discover where they had gone. The car was later found locked on a nearby Manby Road. The robbers were caught with the help of the phone tracking software, the retrieval of CCTV footage capturing their movements, and clothes which were seized. Chisholm has a horrendous record of previous convictions for a man of his age, and in a robbery that year, a victim was punched and had a Canada Goose jacket taken. Jones and Smith had no previous convictions. Smith's barrister said that the defendant had only met Chisholm in passing, as their partners lived in the same place. Smith of Wild Clough, Hyde, didn't meet Jones until the day of the robbery, lawyer David Bentley said. Plan was that they would leave in a taxi they came in, Chisholm's barrister Ian Johnston said. Mr. Johnston said there was no plan to rob the car and that he acted impulsively. Smith had been earning good money as a trainee chef before the robbery. "There is another wholly different side to his character and he deeply regrets his actions," his barrister said. Jones of Rock Street, Salford, is ashamed of himself following the audacious attack, his barrister said. He can have no complaints about that. Mr. Johnson said that Jones left school and went to college, completing the first year of a vocational course, but he couldn't get into the second one. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and a share, and leave any thoughts or suggestions you have in the comments section. We love to read through them all. And if you're new but enjoy UK true crime content, then subscribe to see when our newest video releases. And as always, stay safe.